a lot of you don't know who the heck I am. My name's Gretchen Whitmer. I am the quarterback in my household. I've got 2 daughters, 3 stepsons, and a husband, which means I'm taking care of 7 people in my house. But I'm also the first woman ever elected to lead the Democratic caucus in the Senate. And I was elected unanimously by my colleagues, mostly whom were from the city of Detroit. We were outnumbered 2-1. I know a thing or two about power. And I know this. In America, if you don't have any money, you don't have any power. And that's why fixing poverty has got to be a crucial issue that the next governor tackles. Now, I stayed in Michigan when I graduated, and I took care of my mom when she got sick with brain cancer. It was the same time that I was starting out my family. I had to get up and go to work, figure out daycare, get the groceries, take care of my mom, and fight her insurance company when they wrongfully denied her chemotherapy. I know that the story of Detroit that some people see with cranes in the air, it's a lot more complicated than that. I know that there are people in Detroit who are struggling to get by, who need water, fresh food, and a roof over their heads. But that's not good enough. We need to get ahead. And that starts with the education of our children, a good paying job, and a way to get to that job. We got a lot of work to do, and I look forward to listening to you.
All right. According to the blind draw, Dr. Abdul Al-Sayed is the next speaker. Opening statement, a minute and a half.
Thank you. I just want to say thank you for convening this space, this opportunity to have a conversation that has been the focus of my life's work. I work just down the street at the Detroit Health Department. I walked into a department that had been shut down when this city went bankrupt, and emergency managers decided that it should not have a health department, despite the fact that the infant mortality rate in this city is higher than in my father's native Egypt. The probability of a child being hospitalized for asthma is 3-fold the rest of the state. The probability of a child being exposed to lead is 4-fold. I was hired to rebuild that health department. And in that role, I have the opportunity to meet a boy who put a face on the concepts that we'll be talking about today for me. He was a 3-year-old little boy, 4th child of a 21-year-old mom. Met his father 4 times in his life because his dad's in jail. You think about the circumstances of this boy's life, the fact that we talked about the health challenges he faces, but even beyond that, if he makes it through his underfunded public school system in this city, his statistical probability remains higher of winding up in jail than it does of winding up in college. The work that we have to do has to be about building the kinds of opportunities that a child like him has to be able to learn and earn in this city and across this state like we would want for any child anywhere in the richest, most powerful country in the world. My father immigrated to this country believing in a society built on a set of ideals, among which is that we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all people are created equal. If we believe that, we know there's a lot more work to do. This is what this conversation is about, how we give voice to those ideals and how we create a circumstance of well-being for a child like him.
Thank you, Abdul Al-Sayed. Let's go to what I'd like to do for the audience. I know we will get excited here at some point, but if you can hold your applause briefly, that way we can proceed without interruption. Bill Cobbs.
So, I'm Bill Cobbs. I'm a son of Detroit. I grew up in this city. I lived on Lawrence between 12th and 14th. Went to Peck Elementary, Durfee Junior High. I never, ever, in my wildest imagination, believed that there would be a day when I'd be standing in front of an audience like this and asking you to make me the next governor of the state. But yet, I stand here today. And the thing that made that possible was I grew up at a time when we were delivering a quality education to kids in the city. I grew up at a time when we were just beginning to enter desegregation. And I was lucky enough to live in a neighborhood where we still had doctors and teachers and lawyers living on the same block as people who worked in the shop. So what we've got to fundamentally do is make sure that we're providing an opportunity for our young people that gives them a doorway to social and economic mobility. Now, I want you to think about this. In Washington, there is a monument to FDR. There's an inscription on that monument, and what that inscription says is that the test of progress is not whether we're more to the abundance of those who have much, but whether we are willing to provide enough for those who don't have enough. So I'm looking forward to a spirited discussion this evening, and I thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. Sharif Thomas.
Good evening, how are you? I think for some reason everybody knows how to say my name. You know, many of the politicians come from privilege. When I was 14 years old, my family fell into dire poverty. 6 girls, a brother, and my mom and dad. And we didn't know many a times where our next meal is going to come from. I am the only candidate here who knows what it is to go to bed hungry. I worked as a janitor throughout my high school and took many jobs to help my family overcome poverty. And there were times when I slept in a car, and there were times when it got too hot, I went into a public building and slept inside with my backpack. So I know how it is that 22% of Michiganders suffer and to put food on the table, to take care of their family's health care and their family's education. We haven't seen any compassion and any love in Lansing for the last 7 years. I will bring that to Lansing for all of you. Education was the ladder for my success, and that ladder is broken for too many Michiganders today. I want to be the education governor to give the access to education and skill sets so everyone can do better for themselves. I look forward to this discussion.
Thank you so much. If you want to ask a question, we have 2 mics, one on the left and on the right, and you can walk to the mic and tell us who you are, and you have up to 30 seconds to frame your question to the candidates. My first question goes to Gretchen Whitmer. Should you become the next governor of the state, what would be your strategy to address poverty in Detroit?
Well, Michael, I think that first and foremost, to give people the opportunity to get out of poverty is through a good job, a good paying job. And in order to get people into good paying jobs, you got to make sure that they've got the training you need. That starts with our children, ensuring that every child has access to a high quality early childhood education, so when they come into kindergarten, they're ready to learn. But it continues on with retraining for adults, daycare in our community colleges, so people can get the skills that they need to get into jobs. But let's be honest, a good paying job isn't enough. You've got to be able to get there. You've got to have transit to get to work. You've got to be able to afford car insurance if you're lucky enough to own a car. And we got to fix the road so that when you're driving your car, you're not busting the brake every time you're on the roads. We've got a lot of things that we got to tackle. But I think that Dr. Beatty mentioned in his opening remarks that education is the most important component, especially for our children, to get them the skills they need to be successful, to get into high-wage skills. Because I hear enough of people saying we need more jobs. People want one good paying job. And to get into one good paying job, you've got to have the skills that earn you that opportunity to make a really good living for your family and get ahead in life.
All right. Abdul El-Sayed, you've walked to the health department, you headed the city's health department. When you look back in review, what is it that Detroit hasn't done to address poverty that you think as governor you can leverage that powerful office as the state's chief executive to do what Detroit currently is doing?
Yeah, thank you for the question, Nicolay. One of the things we tried to do in the city was to think about the user experience of government from that child's eyes. And we realized that too many problems go unsolved. So we've released a comprehensive urban agenda focusing on the challenges that folks in this community face. In fact, that 36% of homeowners get foreclosed upon not because they're not making mortgage payments, because they're being over-assessed for the taxes they pay on those houses. In fact, that people who rent have to pay way too much for housing that is substandard. Focusing on issues related to water. The fact that too many people have their water shut off, a problem that I was not able to solve as health commissioner that I intend to insult is government. The fact that if you own a car here, you pay $500 to $1,000 a month just to be able to drive that car legally. The fact that we don't have any mass transportation for folks in a community like this one. The fact that we're not willing to pay attention to schools that I personally inspected to keep up to code, to be able to invest in the infrastructure, the places where our kids are being asked to learn, where when they walk in, we know that they are not getting the kind of services that they deserve as children living in this state. What it means to me is that we're willing to think about the challenges that our kids and our adults face. We're willing to think about their experiences walking through the world, and we're willing to solve real problems that they face uniquely in communities like this one.
All right, Bill Cobbs, let me go to you. You become the next governor of Michigan. You will obviously, you don't just come into Detroit and start saying you want to address poverty. There has to be a relationship between your office and the mayor's office. Help me understand how you work with the mayor's office in addressing something so crucial as poverty in this city.
So, today,
and that is whether the mayor likes you or not.
Today you have a unique situation because you have a mayor who firmly believes that the future of Detroit is based upon what happens in Midtown and downtown. $2 billion that should be devoted to neighborhood redevelopment and schools are being placed into private businesses' hands. So if I become the next governor of the state, the mayor and I are going to have a real discussion that revolves around making sure that as we're using public dollars, we're using them in a way that benefits the citizens of the city. You know, when the stadium was built, there was supposed to be 51% City of Detroit people working on those stadiums. That didn't happen. And the penalty for that happening was nothing. And we have got to make sure that when there are community benefits agreements, that they have real teeth in it, and that they provide an opportunity for citizens who live in neighborhoods to benefit from them.
Okay, Sheree Tavida, looking at poverty, the question becomes, people don't have faith in politicians for a number of reasons. How would you instill faith in the public to say, look, I'm the man who can come into Detroit, Michigan's largest city, the largest Democratic base, and I stand on the threshold of making history as the governor that does what every other governor hasn't done in the last 2 decades as it relates to poverty. How would you do that?
Well, you know, people are disillusioned with career politicians. What we've seen is the career politicians will tell us what we want to hear, and when they go to power, they are beholden to corporations and billion-dollar donors. There is just way too much influence of big money in our politics, which has corrupted our government. And there is a pay-for-play culture in Lansing. And I will stop that, and I have taken a pledge not to accept a single penny from corporate special interest PACs.
Or how do people trust you to say you're the guy to do something that no other governor has done in the last 2 decades on poverty? How should people trust you?
Because I have lived the life of poverty. I know the stigma of poverty, and I struggled and fought and built a business from nothing. I bought a 3-person company, built that to about 450 employees. So I've created jobs. I have been in private sector. Many of the politicians have just had their own one job. I have created hundreds of jobs. And that's what I do.
I'm just going to make a quick comment. I think you judge a person by what they've done, not what they say. And as my friend Lena Thompson likes to say, I've got receipts, because I've been on the front line for 14 years. I fought Snyder's Emergency Management Act. I negotiated Medicaid expansion so 680,000 Michiganders had health care today. I took on the Democratic governor when she started pulling money out of the education fund. I've been there and I know how to get things done. We restore people's faith when we hire people who walk the walk, not just talk the talk.
I think receipts matter. Right? I am the only person who knows what it's like to come day in and day out to serve the people in the city of Detroit. I did it by rebuilding the health department that's just across the street. And our work was about making sure that every kid who walked through a school like this had a pair of glasses so they could see the blackboard. Making sure that a school like this was not poisoning our children with lead because we had it tested after the water crisis. Making sure that marathon patrolling was not poisoning kids across our city in a city racked by asthma. That is work that we did. And we're not taking the same corporate dollars, making us beholden to the same old insurance companies that tell us that we can't actually provide people access to high quality health care. We've got to do that work here, and I've got the receipts too.
All right,
so let's be clear.
right.
I worked in the city as a police officer. I patrol these streets. So when people say that they did things to improve this community, I put my life on the line for this community. And, you know, when you do your job, you don't get brownie points for doing what your job description says. And to stand up and say, well, I got kids' glasses. That's great. That was your job. That's what you were supposed to do.
All right, let me do this. Please, let me claim your indulgence here. But we want to get as many questions as possible tonight. And so if you, the lesser your applause is, and the laughs and the excitement, the more we can get many questions here. And when we get to questions, again, no editorials or commentaries or PhD thesis, but just go straight to the questions, please. Our first questioner here, I didn't know she was going to come, but let me do the introduction myself. Maureen Taylor is the head of the one of the, if not she is the leading advocate on the question of welfare for the poor and the privileged in the state. So Maureen, you get the first question for the candidates.
Thank you very much. There are objective reasons why people are poor in the nation, certainly in the state and in this county. There has to be more than just a speech that talks about if I'm elected starting today and forward, what I'm going to do. I'm looking for and listening for history in terms of who had to deal with a food stamp, who had to help someone with a food stamp, who had to do something about Section 8, about low-income housing and whatnot. All of the candidates, I'm sure they're all wonderful people. If we could invite them to our homes for dinner, we do all of that. But that's not what we're talking about here tonight. Who is it that has some history about that? And who did you ask? Did you go to low-income people and ask them, what do you need to help you get up and out of poverty? Thank you.
All right, let's start with Gretchen. Maureen is making the case that there has to be some connection, a personal connection to the issue itself. Did any of you go through what she just said? Let me start with you.
Well, I'll start with you. You know, here's the thing. I can't tell you that I've walked in everyone's shoes, because I haven't. I can't tell you that I can see it firsthand. But I can tell you this. I worked my tail off as a public servant to help the people in my community. That means the women who were seeking help in shelters. That means listening to children who are in poverty. That means showing up at the public schools and helping out kids who weren't getting enough to eat or who didn't have support in their household. And I can tell you that as I work on addressing the problems that are facing the people of this state, it's not just about what I think the issues are, it's about what people who are struggling in Michigan do. It's about creating a real seat at the table when we're talking about designing collaborations with local communities, policy to address poverty, a real liaison on poverty issues at the cabinet level, not just someone who's there to be a window dressing and to pretend like we're doing something on urban issues, but a real partner to address the issues that people in poverty are facing across the state.
Josh, I know we got yourself 30 seconds to respond.
Yeah, every Friday when I was at the health department, I would take the afternoon and I'd go and visit residents. And in particular, for me, one resident stands out. She's a woman who lost a baby. And we would go and talk to her about the circumstances of that child's life. And I remember sitting in the woman's home and asking to use the bathroom. And when I went to the bathroom, to go wash my hands, there was no water that came out of the faucet. And I saw there was a baby bath where she had been bathing a child with water bottles. And that to me was the first moment where I came to appreciate just how serious water shutoffs were. I'll tell you, the responsibility of being able to take that experience, having worked on the ground in people's homes, and translate that into real policy, we've taken the first step with our urban agenda, and I hope folks will take a look.
I'll show you 30. You have 30 seconds.
So I'm an immigrant. When I came to this country, I came in with, they say I came with $20 in my pocket. Actually, I had 16 because I had a couple of beers or something. And I used to make $300 per month. And I would take $75 out of my $300 and I'll send it home so my family can put food on the table. So that's how I lived for 3.5 years. And in the summer, I wouldn't get paid. I wouldn't be able to keep my apartment. And that's when I stepped in the public sector.
All right, Bill Cobbs, you have 30 seconds.
So look at me. I came from that. I know that. I lived it. When I was going to school, one of the things that I had to do is make sure that people that lived in the same neighborhood I did had a meal to eat at night. My mother and my father would open their doors to make sure that people that didn't have enough got something to eat. So you can talk about it philosophically forever and a day, but if you haven't lived it, if you haven't experienced it, it's all rhetoric.
All right, let's go to the next question. Bill Davis, the head of the Detroit Active Retirees Association. You get the next question.
Good evening. My question to all of you
Is the mic on? Can we have the mic on, please? Go ahead.
It's on now.
okay. My question is, I'm a city of Detroit retired. Hello? Can you hear me? I'm the city of Detroit retired. And the current governor robbed pensioners, active workers in the city of Detroit. I mean, the current occupant of the governor's office robbed, made the city of Detroit poor. Made retirees poor, took our health care. So why should we, and what can you do to make a difference for us?
All right, let me take that to Abdul.
So I've had the experience of speaking with Mr. Davis and a number of retirees, and the responsibility that we have to make folks who were made poor because we decided to double tax money that they earn by choosing to work a public sector job. The responsibility we have to make them whole is huge. But even beyond that, there are other challenges that I think retirees face. One of the things that we're talking about in my campaign that very few others know how to do, what we're talking about, is to enact single-payer health care. To be able to provide every single Michigander with the care that they need, so they're not paying 40% of that take-home earnings on pharmaceutical drugs that they should be able to, as a state, we should be able to negotiate down the costs. And then it's also about being able to sit down with municipalities, make them whole through real, thoughtful engagement in terms of empowering them with the funds that they need to survive.
We gotta move. Let's go. Okay. Bill, you have 30 seconds.
So Dr. LC just talked about single payer. I don't think there's anybody in this room that is not for single payer health care. My question to you is very simple. How and when? How are you going to pay for it? And when is it going to be something that's available to Michigan citizens?
So how? Well, you can provide health care at 60% the value, the cost that we do right now in a for-profit system. The way you do that is instead of asking employers to provide 25 cents on the dollar for every dollar that they pay their employees, you ask them instead to pay a tax bill substantially less, and the same thing goes with how we do income. That way we bring down the cost of health care, and we provide every single person in the state of Michigan access to the care that they need if and when they get sick. When? Within the first term. How about you?
So, and when we were running the numbers, we looked at it, and to provide single-payer health care in the state of Michigan, you'd have to raise an incremental $15 million of revenue. You tell me how you're going to get $15 million worth of additional revenue.
So we do this. Let me have Gretchen and Shuri. What are you on this for 30 seconds before I go to the next question?
I'm going to weigh on your question. And your question is, what do we do about retirees who got screwed by the change in law? That's right. So, you know, because we know each other, because I was on the front line fighting Snyder on the emergency management, fighting them on balancing the books for their business tax break by taxing your pensions. You know that I'm going to sign that repeal into law the minute it gets to my desk.
You got the next question. Go ahead.
Okay. Hi, guys. I'm Reverend Aaron McCarthy. I'm Dr. Martin Luther King's official representative here in Detroit. I'm the president of Detroit chapter of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference here. Now, as candidates, we all talk about what we've done, am I correct? And what we're going to do. My question to you, like that little net, just like Dr. Martin Luther King was, what are you currently doing to help the poverty issues that we have in Detroit? Not what we've done in the past. We're going to do, what are you currently doing right now? Now, I can tell you this, we have Resurrection City over there. We don't get funding, we don't get anything. We've been doing this for 5 months. We've been feeding the homeless, we've been sheltering the homeless, we've been providing clothes. We've been providing resources where we've taken 9 people off the street, those people that nobody else wanted. What are you currently doing to help lower the poverty situation here in Detroit? And that's a good question. That's an action question. What are you currently doing?
Thank you so much, Reverend. Sharif, that question is for you.
Yeah, many years ago, in 1990, I purchased a small business that was going out of business and it was going to lose, the employees were going to lose their jobs. And I purchased that business for almost like $75,000 loan, and I grew that business. I created many employments. I made sure I hired people, I trained them, and created hundreds of good paying jobs.
This question is, what have you done to reduce poverty?
What are you doing right now? And 2 years ago, I saw what was happening in Flint, Michigan, and as a scientist and as a chemist, I could bear to see our own government poisoning its own citizens. I sold my business so that I can devote the rest of my life into public service.
Can I push a little bit further on that, Mr. Tyler? His question is, what have you done? This is Michigan's largest city. This is the largest Democratic base. This is the largest populous city of any major American city in the nation. What have you done to help reduce poverty in Detroit? Not Flint, not anywhere else, but right here where we're sitting.
Right now. Yeah. So basically, I sold my business. I took some money out of that to distribute it to all of my employees. So I created employment. I created it in Ann Arbor. That's where I live. I don't live in Detroit, but I've created 50 good-paying jobs in Ann Arbor. And when I sold my business, I took a chunk of the money and distributed it to all of my employees. And the way I distribute it is not because of their title, but based on the length of their service. Okay. So my administrative assistant, she got $107,000 bonus.
All right, okay. Okay, you have 30 seconds.
Very direct answer to you.
Thank you.
One,
Go ahead.
we're talking about poverty. This comes with a platform, and we didn't have to be pushed into this place. We don't come here to take photo ops, right? Our office is right downtown. We stay in Detroit. We have conversations about poverty. We're driving that conversation because we know it has to be a defining factor. Here's the other thing. My team and I, it matters a lot to us that we keep service at the top of our minds. And so we, as a campaign, go out and engage the local community to do things like feed folks at soup kitchens. And it's a small contribution, but it reminds us that the work we are supposed to do is to be servants. That is about driving the conversation in public mind and trying to put your hand where your mouth is on being able to do something even as we do this work of running for government.
All right, Greg, you want to respond to the last 30 seconds?
So what I'm doing to combat poverty is I'm running for governor. I am dedicating my life to winning a race so that we can set the agenda, fix the schools, bring down insurance rates, and get people into good paying jobs. But we've also just opened up our office on Livernois and 7 Mile, where we are going to be doing drives like we've done in our office in Lansing to help the local community. And I'd love an opportunity to partner with you on what that looks like and how we can do more.
All right, let me go to the next audience question. Your question goes to Bill Cobbs. Go ahead, sir.
I'm Curtis Green. I'm a graduate of the SCRIPT program. I'm also an MBA in minister in the city and also learn. Now, I don't believe that question was fair because, let's be real, I haven't seen anybody here in the mud before election time, except for Nico Williams and a few others, including myself. But what I will ask is this, Sheree was a time where he only got closed once a year, and that was on a holiday. And Detroit is a city that has 48% poverty. I come from a life of crime. My best friend was killed when I was 20. They found my girlfriend in the river in 2011. She came up missing. I did my best to stay out of trouble 13 years clean. So, if you are given the title of governor, the Lord of Lords, and King of Kings, and Queen of Queens in Michigan, what will you do? Who will you put ahead of a program for misguided youth that don't really know any better to be a productive citizen? Who would you put in power to spearhead a program like that? Because it's a real issue, and people are really dying. When I graduated in 2003 from Central High School, and I'm also a Durfee graduate, I can name for you 16 people who did and even more who've been in prison. What are you going to do about this problem? Thank you.
So I can't tell you the name of the person I put in charge of a program like that today, but I can tell you this. One of the things that is fundamentally clear is that we have been underfunding public education in the state of Michigan to the tune of thousands of dollars per student. So I said, as the next governor of the state, that we're going to change the formula so that we can provide at least $11,500 a year per student. That will fundamentally change the level of services that we're delivering. And there's a direct correlation between opportunity and what you become. So when young people say that there's no opportunity for them, what they're really saying to us is that we haven't given them the most important thing that they need in life, and that is hope. And if we do the right things about restoring public education, we provide that hope that they're talking about.
Time is up. 30 seconds.
Yeah, I feel like Bill's kind of missing the point of the question. We know that there are a lot of people who have been involved in the justice system that we have not empowered to be able to lead the kind of lives they deserve. And that means that we need people who understand that pipeline, who are going to step up and lead on this particular issue. By going back to fixing schools, everybody knows we need to do that. That's clear. But beyond that, we also can't give up on the folks who have gone through the system who we need to empower to have great lives. And so what we're talking about, if you go to our website, rootformichigan.com/criminaljustice, you'll see our goal in terms of being able to stabilize people's lives when they get out of the system. I really appreciate your question.
All right.
I don't think I said anything about giving up on anything.
Let me move on. Next question. The next question goes to Gretchen Whitman. Go ahead.
Good evening. My name is Cheryl Anderson Small, and I want to thank Mr. Baker for being a